Last time you were hanging out watching TV, you saw some sport compact, guy couldn't even break the tires loose? Well, let me tell you, I'm here to prove it different. The days of the Hemi and the big block Chevy, they're back. MuscleCar, Spike TV. Hey guys, welcome to MuscleCar, the only show that's devoted to real American steel, and I'm your host, Lou Santiago. Here, we're gonna do 3 B's. We're gonna buy them, we're gonna build them, we're gonna beat the hell out of them. Let me show you a couple projects I got going on here. This is a 1969 Camaro, and it's all new. That's right, it's all new. How about this vintage piece of iron straight out of a cornfield? 61 Impala Coupe. Didn't make many of these bad boys. Check out that vine on the antenna. We're bringing this baby back from the dead. But let me show you our first project, 1970 Challenger, chock full of Mopar history. And you might have seen this one on the big screen. Ours is one of 7 identical Challengers that they used in the movie Too Fast, Too Furious. This one survived, sorta. It's got no engine, no tranny, it's got some rot. It's perfect for a teardown, but with a job this big, you gotta have friends. So I made a call to Jesse and Ian at Extreme 4x4. Jess?
Lou, what's up, man?
Ian, what's happening?
How you doing, Lou? Welcome to the family. Man.
Oh, dude, it's cool.
Love the place, man. It's beautiful here.
You're just jealous.
I am, a little.
I don't blame you.
You got a paint booth.
Scary, isn't it?
As well.
They're gonna let me do that.
All right, you called us, said you needed help. What do you got?
I got a 70 Challenger.
Is it 4-wheel drive?
No.
We're out.
No, dude, come on.
All right, no,
don't bail on me.
Give us more. Tell us more, and we'll see what we can do to give you a hand.
Not for nothing, the 70 Dodge Challenger, true Mopar muscle, man. Those things, they started out in 65, 68, they had the first prototype. By 70, the babies were rolling on the streets. You gotta love them.
Oh, I know the Challenger. I helped a buddy of mine rebuild one in high school. They're killer cars.
Yeah, well, you know, I remember when they were new. And they came in 18 colors, 9 different engines, slant 6, all the way up to the Hemi.
When I was a teenager, I was in a car club, and there was a guy there. He cut up a Duster and turned it into the first pro street car I ever saw. It was pretty wicked, man.
Yeah, but dude, you know, the Duster is an A-body. This is an E-body.
School me more, my friend.
Ah. You know, when you were in school and you were learning your ABCs, you never thought it would come in handy for a Mopar, did you? A, B, C, D. All the different body styles. A bodies, compact cars. B bodies, just a tad bigger. Your road runners, your coronets. Then you go to C's and D's, the land yachts. I'm talking the big, grand sport Furies, the Newports, the kind of car that would you spread out in, man. And E-bodies, like our Challenger, they broke the mold. But enough of that. Let's tear this thing down to bare steel, like we do everything in this shop. You guys ready to do some work?
Yeah.
Sure, man. Anytime.
Cool? 5-10 years ago, guys were junking Mopars like ours, some in even better condition than this Challenger. That makes them extremely rare and valuable. Some in pristine condition can bring hundreds of thousands of dollars at auction. We scrape. So this car is worthy of restoration. The most important thing to remember is tag and bag as you go. Little stuff like nuts and bolts and other fasteners, put them in a safe place.
Oh, Lou.
What?
Have you seen this?
Oh! I mean, that's standard Northeast. Usually is what happens is you get leaves and trash like that stuck in there, and it creates, a moisture area, and is what happens over time is it just rots out this whole cowl vent area. These doors are heavy and expensive. Support them first with a door dolly or floor jack so you don't bend the hinges or break or dent anything. Beautimus, beautimus.
This is Lexan, right, Lou? Or
Yeah.
plexiglass,
What
probably.
it is.
So you'll have to source.
It's plexi.
Yeah, you'll have to source some glass from somewhere to replace all this. And if you were doing a restoration, you'd normally just get new glass anyway, right?
Yeah, but I mean, depending on the availability,
Some you can't get, right?
Some you can't get.
Hey, Lou, did you check out these seats?
Now, what's up, Jess?
They're like original seats.
Oh, God, these are nice Mopar seats till someone hacked them up with a rusty butter knife.
These are some valuable seats, man.
A real Mopar guy would not hack up his seats like this, even if it was a movie car. These guys were movie guys.
Did you see what they did with the seatbelts?
Yeah, they're going mountain climbing. That's why you'd use a carabiner to lock down your seatbelts.
This is just screaming, I want to die today!
Just start unscrewing stuff.
I am.
Uninitiated might think we're crazy to try and rebuild a movie car, but I'm here to tell you, this Challenger will be better than new. Badass motor, trick 4-link airbag suspension, and all the comforts of a modern ride.
I got it.
Voila. Groovy.
While they've been working on the front end of this car, I've been getting ready to pull out this rear axle and suspension that Lou's going to replace later with a Dana 60.
Here we go. I think we're clear.
Yep, you're good.
Well, there it is, all tore down for the rotisserie.
Well, since we helped you get this far, you obviously don't need us anymore. We can split.
No, I need you guys to hang out. I got some cool stuff to show you.
Right on.
Hey guys, welcome back to MuscleCar. Now that we've got that 69 Camaro crated, it's time to turn our attention back to the Challenger.
Yep, this car's gonna get sent out to be blasted. We could just throw it on a trailer and haul it off, but for us to get good results on a job like that, we're gonna put it on a rotisserie.
Like this one from Accessible Systems.
All right, slow down. Lovely, lovely. This tool will allow you to mount the body of your project and then rotate it into different positions to make repairs easier. Since every chassis is different, we'll need to modify the bracket slightly to make this one work. If you don't have a rotisserie, you can build a simple dolly, cheap, and trailer it to your bead blaster.
Right, Lou?
Now that the Challenger is balanced on the rotisserie, we can spin it in a 360 to see what we've got going on.
Before we even think about installing the rear suspension, we're gonna have to completely rebuild the rear frame rails. And trunk repairs are normal to see on almost any muscle car, but this sloppy fiberglass repair will get cut from this car. And obviously, there's rust everywhere.
So I guess you can say the Challenger is gonna be a little bit more of a challenge, eh?
Yeah, but you wait till you see what we got planned for this thing. Can you say, Hemi?
So we get an email from this guy, right? And you're gonna get, he's gotta get used to them. So this is verbatim, and we're not making this up, right? Sends in PowerBlock. Dear Extreme 4x4, your show sucks. Ian and Jesse know nothing. Horsepower TV sucks. That kid on there knows nothing. Stacy David knows nothing. I watch every week hoping that it's gonna get better, and it doesn't. And we wanted to send a letter back saying, thanks for watching, keep watching, maybe one day it will get better.
That's it for our Mopar project this week. I appreciate you guys coming to the shop and helping me out.
That's no problem, man. It was fun working on an old muscle car for a change.
You know this means you're gonna have to come over to Extreme and help us out with our next off-road project, right?
Not a problem, but talk to my agent.
Very funny.
Actually, guys, say hi to Jared Zimmerman, our new co-host of MuscleCar, and he didn't come empty-handed.
That's right. The Challenger will be powered by this Mopar Performance 528 Hemi crate motor. This thing has a massive 610 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque.
You got the ultimate power plant for the ultimate Challenger. Really appreciate the help, guys.
No problem.
See you next week.
See ya!
crank this baby over. Today's show is a blast, literally. Everything from media blasting to metal finishing. Punch it. Hey everybody, this is a show about wicked excess. We're talking hardcore American muscle car, American brawn.
Oh yeah, like Torinos, Chevelles, Goats, and of course, the Mopars, like our 70 Challenger here.
We started with this semi-complete 70 Dodge Challenger, one of 7 from the movie Too Fast, Too Furious. Bad movie. Great car. With some help from Ian and Jesse from our sister show, Extreme 4x4, we were able to get this entire body stripped down and ready for media blasting. We brought our Challenger to Watertown, Tennessee, and blast from the past. One reason, virgin sheet metal, baby. Fresh metal, that's what we want to see. Media blasting gets rid of decades of wax, paint, and rust, you name it. That stuff's out of there. What they use is crushed glass, 40 to 60 grit for the rough stuff, and a fine 100 to 120 grit for the top side, which leaves a real slick finish. Speaking of slick, this guy's name here is Heavy Duty, and man, he loves this stuff.
I've been doing this for 30-something years, and it puts goosebumps on me today, just like it did 30-something years ago when I started blasting one of these.
I don't know if it's goosebumps or tears. You think our fenders are straight? Think again. Look at that fillet being ripped away, and all the holes that someone drilled in our valuable Challenger to pull those dents. We'll fix that with some new sheet metal. And for you guys at home, serious about your restoration, media blasting is the only way to go.
It's like you're taking something old and you're making it new again.
So now that we've got this baby stripped down to bare steel, we're gonna do what we gotta do to make it nice and purty.
Yeah, believe it or not, from what you're seeing, I've actually seen cars in worse condition. This one's not that bad, especially for a car that's this old. You know, you're gonna have rust issues and stuff like that. There are a couple surprises, like here. This is an area where, there again, moisture has come down and settled, and because of the vinyl roof fabric, it held it in there. It's gonna be a lot of time. I mean, this is a pretty involved project. Anytime you take something down this far, you're looking at some work, but the payoff's gonna be great.
It's time for us to take this thing and get to work. We're gonna put it on a chassis table, and we're gonna get busy on it.
With the rotisserie gone and the chassis jig in place, we'll establish ride height and lower it into place.
Welding some stanchions between the body and the jig will keep it level and true. Plus, it's a good way to determine all of your clearances and attachment points for things like suspension, oil pan, exhaust, and anything you can tear off when it's mounted too low. We know not all you have room for a frame table like ours, but you could use jack stands and some anchor points in your floor, and you can get the same thing accomplished.
This part of the jig represents the ground. We're going to reference this point through the entire build. Now, this car is going to be on here until we have suspension under it, and it's a roller. The reason you want to hang all these parts is to ensure that the gaps and the seams line up the way they're supposed to. See, we're a little tight, which is good.
Right.
Because then all I got to do is grind and edge weld instead of trying to add to it. And you can really see how the body lines come together. Here's a little trick. Once the fit is good, drill some 1/8" holes in the hinges. Then after the car is fully painted, you can line the doors up a lot easier during final assembly. Okay, with the body panels in place, we can finally attack some of the problem areas on this thing. Now, rot back here in the window channel is a common problem for these cars. Most body shops are just gonna put filler in there, but to do this right, we're gonna go ahead and replace it with some new metal. Now don't be afraid to cut into your prized possession. This must be done in order to fix the damage. And just remember to cut small pieces one at a time so the job doesn't get too overwhelming. I'll cut a piece of sheet metal and bend it with the brake. To get the piece to fit, we use a shrinker stretcher to curve the metal to fit the window channel. It's now ready to be tacked, grinded, and finish welded. No doubt, this is a big job, but we're looking at it like a bunch of little jobs stacked on top of each other. We're gonna get the entire shell of the car fixed first, and then start with things like the trunk floors and frame rails.
Now, before we sent this thing to the blaster, we pulled this little fender tag off. This will tell you everything you need to know about your Mopar. Ours originally had black high-back vinyl seats, 318 two-barrel pushing a whopping 230 horsepower, torque flight 904 automatic transmission, and that fashionable color, plum crazy purple. It had full wrap door panels, and it was built on November 19th, 1969. And the VIN number tells us J is the make, M is the price class, 23 is the body style, G is the engine, O, the model year, and B, the assembly plant in which it was built. And the last numbers tell us that our Challenger was the 98,634th vehicle to roll out of that Michigan plant that year. If any of you guys want to decode your Mopar, we'll have a link on our website after the show.
Welcome back to MuscleCar. Normally when you're doing a restoration like this, you're going to want to hit your structural areas first, like your window channels, the firewall, and things like that. But what I want to show you is the passenger side quarter here. As you can see, the top of it's pretty good shape, so we're just going to leave that alone. But the bottom of this thing is full of Swiss cheese. So I'm going to cut this sucker off, and I'm going to graft in a piece of new quarter panel. But when you do this, take your time, because you only got one chance to get it right.
It's nice to have a true body man in the shop. Let me tell you about this guy. We swiped Jared Zimmerman from Manteno, Illinois, where he was a member of the Rad Rides crew. His boss? Troy Trepanier, one of America's premier builders. Case in point, this 70 Cuda they call Sick Fish. Bill Books followed you guys around during the build of this Sick Fish. What was that like?
It was awesome, man. It's the baddest CUDA ever. I got to deliver the car to Joe Rogan. I mean, I slaved on it for 6 months, and then when I finally got to give it to him, he was just pumped, man. All he could say is that the car reminded him of war, because it's just so rowdy.
What kind of fabrication work do you do?
Not much. I just slept on a cot and watched everybody, but I took a lot of the credit. And then I befriended the guy that did this book, so he took pictures of me, and then I could take the credit for most of the shots.
That is so groovy.
Oh, yeah, it was. It was a good time.
So for you guys at home, Jarrett's a well-rounded kind of guy when it comes to the automotive end of it.
That is correct.
He does fabrication, he
Yes.
does wiring, he does it all. So you know what? He needs to get back to work. I'm tired of you lollygagging.
I gotta listen to Mr. Clean. Oh, look, more rust. What a surprise. Well, as you can see, the outer wheelhouse is junk. And before I can get to put on my new quarter, I'm just gonna have to go ahead and cut this out and get it fixed. But once again, I'm only gonna cut out the bad area and leave the rest of it. So even though I have a whole new wheelhouse in the shop, cutting and grafting in a section to replace the rot is an easier fix. I've got a low spot here and a high spot there, so what I'm doing is pushing the low spot up with a dolly while I knock the high spot down. It's just kind of an even trade-off. You hear that pinging sound? Another way to use the dolly is to stretch the metal back out. And I'll show you an example. When this is welded, it heats up, and I'm sure everybody's seen this. And when it heats, the metal wrinkles. That's because it's been shrunk. So you want to use the dolly and the hammer to stretch it back out. We'll finish up our quarter panel with some authentic restoration sheet metal from Goodmark Industries. Once positioned, I'll mark all the trim points, use the original fender as a guide, then grind, and cut the new quarter for an exact fit. Luke, will you jump up in the trunk and give me a hand, please?
I can do that.
Thank you. Earlier I was drilling holes in this panel because this is how the factory attached the panel originally. And what they did is they just spot welded through this so that these two pieces of metal are fused together. Short bursts with the MIG keep it from getting too hot so you don't burn through the metal and make a hole. Okay, I got the quarter completely welded on, and all I have left is to grind down these finished welds. Make it pretty. This thing's gonna look so good, you won't even know I hung a quarter on this car. When I get started, I like to use the biggest tool for the job, and I have a 4.5-inch grinder here. And what I'm doing is making long, sweeping strokes, so you don't see any divots in the metal from where I rested. And you gotta be careful to keep moving. I know it's quicker sometimes to just concentrate on an area, but you need to just keep passing over it so that everything gets brought down on one even level. What do you think, man?
I'm liking it, man. I'm liking it.
Cool. Hey, next time you see us working on the Challenger, we're gonna be getting after some rotten A-pillars in the firewall.
And on the crate Camaro, we're putting in the front suspension.
Adios.
Later.
Today on MuscleCar, the Camaro gets on its wheels, the Challenger gets more work done, and we got a surprise!
Hey everybody, you're back in the shop with me and Jared. Now we got a lot of stuff going on, but we're gonna get back to our hardcore projects.
Oh yeah, like the Challenger here is gonna need some serious help in the structural department. And you're gonna get to see what that Camaro looks like on its wheels and tires.
You ready to do that, man?
What are we waiting on?
Let's go.
We've got most of the sheet metal work on the rear in pretty good shape. And since you saw it last, we put a new quarter on the driver's side, fixed the roof, and we ran a DA over the whole thing to sand off the primer and give it a uniform look. Now, as you can see, we have some issues with the gaps in the front, but this problem goes way deeper than just a bad fender.
Yeah, you can tell in one time in its life, this baby was punched in the nose. We're gonna have to remove the fenders and the hood to fix the things underneath, like the inner fenders and the firewall. You can't repair the outer panels till these areas are taken care of. Something you guys gotta remember with a car this old, wherever the battery's located, you're gonna have rust. And we're gonna cut that out.
And with the inner fender out of the way, it's gonna make it a lot easier to fix the firewall. And we found more damage right here caused by a crash. Not only is it ugly, but it's gonna keep our fender from fitting right too. So we're gonna cut it out.
Flame on. Now you're probably wondering why I'm playing with fire. Well, when this thing was punched in the nose, there's a high spot here. And it's so high we can't beat it out because of the location. So what I'm gonna do is heat it up nice and cherry red. Even though the metal's gonna stretch, we're gonna fix this.
That's nice.
Get ready.
And action. This isn't good on Mom's kitchen towels. A dent like this took thousands of pounds of pressure because, you know, this car weighed around 4,000 pounds, and when it hits something, that's a ton of force. Actually, 2 tons of force. And all we have is a 2-pound hammer, so sometimes you gotta superheat the metal so it's a little easier to work with. All right, with everything out of the way, now's the best time to turn our attention to fixing the firewall area. And since we're not really worried about a factory-looking restoration, we're gonna clean this up by fixing the rust and getting rid of these factory holes. That's gonna give us a really killer look in the engine compartment. Let's see what's underneath, shall we? More rust, yay! Using metal from around this shop, we'll recreate the pieces we can't save.
The best way to get rid of the larger holes is make a patch panel. Then, replace the area with the new piece.
Need some theme music. Bum, 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 bum.
Check it out. Got a tip for you. We're gonna fill all these little holes, right? You take a piece of aluminum or copper, and when you weld on it, it doesn't stick to the copper, but it'll stick to the steel.
Hit it, maestro.
Let's get the rest of them.
Yeah.
it's about time. We're finally ready to move on to some new sheet metal. We got rid of all the unnecessary holes and kept the ones we're going to use. So let's get to it.
Inner fender wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Well, you have masterful penmanship, Mr. Lou. No. Sounded really nice, Lou.
Bring in the fender cam.
Sweet. When you come back. We knew this thing was hurt, but we didn't know how much.
There might be some real crazy fabrication ahead.
What do you think? If you had to make an educated guess, do we need to pull the frame on it?
I'm looking for a spot that's got damage. There's got to be. Somewhere in this car.
It has to be buckled.
There's a dip here and then there's a high here.
And then also you can see where these two pieces separated here. When this went in, you know, that pulled down. Everything's cause and effect on a car like that.
This ain't good.
All right, now this is the reason for test fitting. We know this thing had been damaged, but now it's pretty apparent it's been jumped. And we know this because the gaps at the tops of the fenders on both sides is tight, and at the bottom, it's huge. So, would lead me to believe this thing's landed on its nose at one point in its life.
Another thing that leads us to believe that this thing has seen the kind of airtime that Tony Hawk would be proud of. You got a dent right up in here. And the door is actually rolled under the fender. Now over here, probably is what happened was the tire was driven up into the fender, causing all this damage.
Looks like it's time for Plan B.
Oh yeah.
All right, here's the deal. We have figured out this thing's done some aerobatic maneuvers at some point in time. So to fix it, we got to get the nose back down. And to do that, we're going to utilize the Z-joint in this area. And it's actually going to make it stronger than stock. I'll mark out the cuts and then match it up on the other side.
Because what I'm going to do is cut a couple pieces in one by one so we can make a brace for the front subframe.
Tell me when you're crappy.
I'm crappy.
Okay, let's go. There, that should do it.
Now the reason why you want to put this brace in is so when you cut the frame rails, everything stays nice and square and you don't have any problems.
We got to get the nose down, so we're going to cut the frame. We chose a Z-cut because it'll give us more surface area to weld when we put this thing back together. Before we finish the frame, we're gonna hang these new fenders from Goodmark to make sure that all of our body lines are straight. Now these are really cool because they're prototypes. And yeah, we got them because we're on TV. But don't worry, the real ones should be available soon, so keep checking your part suppliers.
Yeah, at least we don't have to repair this piece of garbage.
That is true, but we do have to worry about a couple things that you guys at home don't, like transplanting this headlight area from our old fender to our new one.
Piece of cake. To make our patches, I'll cut out pieces from an extra frame rail.
Lou,
Yeah.
let's see how it fits. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, man, if we can go ahead and throw all the shims and all the bolts in and just get it where it belongs. Then.
Be golden.
Yeah, and we can start tacking the frame in place.
Cool. There you go.
Yeah, it's definitely better. It's better, but how much better?
Now, what we're doing here is you saw us make the Z cut. Then I'm gonna take this plate, put it over the weld like that, clamp it, and then I'll weld all these little holes in and weld it all the way around. This thing will be so strong it won't even be funny. Voila.
I'm gonna sand all the primer out the front fenders just like I did in the back for several reasons. One, it's gonna give me a better line of sight on all of my body lines. Two, I'm gonna do it when I get to body work anyway. And plus, it just looks cool. I got the good feeling, man, the good vibration.
Nah, everything fits like it's supposed to, and it looks good.
It does, it looks great.
You know why? Because nothing's out of whack.
Nothing's whacked.
Because it's just like building a house. If your foundation's out of whack, the house is out of whack. Our frame was out of whack. It's straight now. It's no longer in whack. It's out of whack.
Nothing's wacky.
Question, what does NASCAR technology have to do with building a classic Mopar?
And what do you do with those body panels that don't exactly fit perfectly?
Well, the answer to those and my latest invention.
Right now on MuscleCar, what is that? Hey guys, welcome to MuscleCar. As you can see, we've been pretty busy here in the shop. Our crate Camaro's really coming together.
And our restoration modification of the 70 Dodge Challenger has come a long way since we rolled it in last month.
You guys are going to see a lot of action on both projects today. And we're going to go over some body details in the Camaro that'll make a big difference before it sees paint.
And we're going to put the front suspension in this baby, but first we got to get you up to speed.
The first order of business, get our project torn down, then stripped to bare metal by media blasting it. Now, nice and clean of all the surface rust, we lowered the Challenger onto a frame jig to keep it fixed and level. We shaved all the unnecessary holes in the firewall and replaced the inner fenders, but not before straightening our bent front clip. This allowed us to be able to hang our new front fenders. I like fire a lot, Lou.
Fire, fire, fire.
Got it, Lou?
I do now.
Sweet. All that rust and rot in the lower windshield frame was cut out and replaced with new fabricated window channels on both sides. We also replaced the rusty parts of the cowl and firewall. We hung new quarter panels, then eliminated the rust in the roof and the rear window channel. Then with the chassis straight, oh, that's so much better. Most of the metal work done on the body, our Challenger's back in good enough shape to start on the front suspension.
Like we mentioned earlier, the Challenger's getting an air ride set up front and rear, and here's what's going in up front. This system from Air Ride Technologies features these tubular upper control arms and this pair of Shockwave 3.0 airbags. They're made for independent front suspensions and feature double convoluted air spring bellows that will definitely handle the load capacity of the monster Hemi we're gonna put in this thing. Not to mention, with the shock and the spring out of the way, you get a whole lot more tire clearance, so it's a lot neater package, and it just looks good.
We thought, why bolt all that cool stuff to 40-year-old technology? So we're gonna scrap the stock K-member and go with this trick new part from Red Top Speed Shop. This thing's stronger, lighter, and it's gonna allow us to be able to use a lot more modern parts. Another awesome thing is, this thing implements a lot of the same suspension and steering components that the NASCAR guys use on the weekends. And if it's good enough for them to go 200 miles an hour with, it's gonna be good enough for our Challenger.
Now for you guys using a stock K-member in your e-body, Air Ride makes a bolt-in kit featuring the Shockwave 7000 series that installs without any fabrication. Now, this piece is just a prototype, which works perfect for what we're doing. But the K-members at Red Top Speed Shop shipped to the public will be a lot more refined. Now, this K-member was designed to have bolts going through the frame in the back. But being that we had to make some structural repairs, we don't want to have to do that. So we're going to find another way to mount it.
We're gonna bolt in the upper control arms that Air Ride supplied us with. They go in the stock location to work with the Shockwave. With our control arms installed, it's time to start thinking about a spindle. Now we got several options when we do this. We can go with a stock spindle, like the one that came off of our 70 Challenger, or go with this S10 spindle like we got in the junkyard. But we're gonna go with this modified spindle from Bear Brakes, and I'm gonna tell you why. This stock spindle's got a host of problems. Like, it's 36 years old, and the aftermarket's very narrow. It's gonna be hard to find those big brakes, and things like the steering components that you're looking for. And let me show you what we got from Bear. This thing's already been modified to house their big caliper and rotor, and it comes with this trick hub that already has our stock Dodge bolt pattern on it. But before we can use this, we're gonna have to do some modifications of our own.
The ball joint holes in our spindles need to be enlarged to fit bigger and stronger aftermarket ball joints. To do this, we're going to use a ball joint reamer. Mark the ball joints just before the end of the taper. Then you can start to enlarge the holes with the reamer. Always remember to take your time and check the fit, because you don't want to take too much metal out of the spindle. Grab it again then.
All right. So now
When you can fit the ball joint through, it's time to install it on the control arm. Voila!
Something you'll need to know when you're doing air ride is the ride height of the bag you choose, because this is going to be your spring, and in order for it to work right, it has to be at the correct ride height when it's going down the road. This one's supposed to be at 13 inches. That's going to dictate where we fabricate the lower control arm mount. And as you can see, we're going to have to get into some fabrication on the frame rail before we can put this bag in, so let's get started. Remove the 2 factory bump stops because they're in the way. And then cut away part of the frame rail for bag clearance.
I am marking where we need to cut the bag.
And then we have to re-brace the frame now in the area that we cut away. Oh! Ah! Next, we're gonna put the suspension back together and then put the bag in and check it and make sure everything's clearanced enough. This area here represents the ground. We have a wheel that's 24 inches in overall diameter, including the tire, so we're gonna wanna set our axle at 12-inch center. Lou made this awesome little jig that's gonna do just that.
Lift up. Now, is what I did, because I work alone so much, is I actually got bored one night and made this jig that holds the hub in place, and is what it is, I drilled it for every bolt pattern from 5 on 4.5 to 5 on 5. This way, when it's on there, it locks it down, and you can do all your fabrication.
This will also allow us to set the bag up at ride height so we can make our lower shock mount awesome.
Jared's been hammering out the seams on the crate Camaro, and everything's starting to line up perfect.
And Lou's been going to town on our Challenger suspension. And what's awesome about this thing is you'll be able to go lay the smack down at a drag strip in one state, then drive to the next state and go rip around a road course.
This thing's got the best parts that we could throw on it, and let me tell you something, this is gonna be one nasty street fighter.
So let's get it done.
Before I can put in the steering, I need to finish both sides of the suspension. Hey, tough guy.
What do you want, Sonny? I go on busy.
No, you're not. You're lollygagging. Let's put the bag in real quick, man. Now that we've got our steering box installed up front, out of the way of that big, massive Hemi, we're gonna install something even cooler. Take this center link from Laughlin Racing. Not only is it neat, but it's adjustable. You can take these slugs and go anywhere between dead center to 3/8 of an inch off center. Now see, those Nextel Cup guys, is what they do, is they set it up so it leans to the left, so they can go around them turns at 200 miles an hour. But that's not what we want to do. We want to set ours up for a little more road race action. We can knock out that bump steer, and it's just overall a cool piece. First, I'll install the center link to the pitman arm, then the inner and outer tie rod ends, and attach them to the spindles. Then, on the passenger side, the idler arm attaches to the chassis, then to the center link.
Okay, now this is what I'm talking about, man. Plenty of tire clearance. We'll be able to drive the wheels off this thing.
Be able to cut those donuts.
That's bad. Hey, man, check back with us next week, because this thing's only going to get further along.
Later.
Welcome back. You know, a lot of people ask why we're not restoring our Challenger to original condition. The answer to that's pretty simple.
This car's not a numbers matching car. It's 36 years old, but with all the modern race parts we're throwing on this thing, it's gonna have the sex appeal of the original, and it's gonna handle like a race car. And to do that, We started with this K-member from Red Top Speed Shop and added some trick air ride suspension parts.
And here it is. Race car handling deserves race car power. And it starts right here with this killer Hemi from Mopar Performance. 528 cubic inches and 610 horsepower. This thing is gonna be bad, but it's gonna need a bad tranny to back it up. And with that in mind, we're gonna put in this Kiesler Engineering Perfect Fit Overdrive 5-speed transmission. It's a direct replacement for Chrysler's A833 4-speed, featuring a custom engineered tail housing with the world's only true internal shifter, offset to fit the original shifter location.
This tranny will let us bang through the gears to take full advantage of those 373s in our Dana 60. And we'll be able to hit the highway and roll at 1,500 RPMs. But first, we got a couple issues we got to take care of. The ground clearance on our Challenger is 5 inches. So we're going to have to raise up that big Hemi to make some room. Can't wait. The first thing we're going to do, all right, coming up, is put the engine and trans into our Challenger so we can see what kind of modifications we'll have to make. Here you go, the Matco 5-speed stool.
It goes without saying, putting a Hemi in this thing is cool enough, but bolting a 5-speed to it just takes it to a whole new level. The Hemi weighs nearly double what most small block V8s weigh, so we'll use a forklift to make this job a little easier.
Okay.
All right, hang on, I'm gonna take the oil filter off. Whoop.
Here we go. How's that?
More, 10 inches. Go under, start using that 2x4.
We'll have to cut an opening for the shifter. But before we do that, we need something to protect our transmission casing.
Ready? Let's venture into the unknown.
100 feet away is our sister show, Extreme 4x4.
You got some kind of a fire blanket?
Some leathers or something?
What? Anything. That's what I'm
Do you?
talking about. Way to step up, Jesse Combs from Extreme 4x4.
How I do it?
All right, let's go. After some discussion, we decided to save the Challenger's original shifter bracket, then cut a small section of the floor big enough to get our shifter up inside the cab.
Yeah, just go up. Oh, look at that! It's like, you totally burned her leathers up.
Okay.
No, they're not. They like molded to the shape of the shifter.
Okay.
That's my favorite. All right, go straight up. Whoa!
Let's check this baby out. I got about 4 inches over here. Everything's bolted in its stock location. What do you got?
I can't even fit my finger in this side.
And that's how Chrysler used to get their U-joints to work. They would actually move the whole engine over towards the passenger side.
And for us, crooked just isn't gonna cut it. Okay, both our front end from Red Top Speed Shop and our parts from Kiesler work great in the stock locations, but since we're gonna center this engine up, we got a lot more fabrication ahead of us.
You think Jesse might be upset about our
And I think we're gonna sneak these back over to Extreme.
It's funny now, but how will Jesse react when the guys give him back? Find out later on when MuscleCar continues.
I'm coming to get you. You're buying me new leather.
We're back at MuscleCar, and we're in the process of muscling our huge Hemi crate motor into our 70 Challenger.
All right, in lieu of the fact that we're gonna center everything up and move it up, the engine and tranny anyway, and this floor is rotten to begin with, we're just gonna cut it all out. Luckily, I got my boy, the Human Torch over here, to run the plasma cutter. Once he gets done, we're gonna get on the phone, call a couple guys who know how to do sheet metal work and get this sucker replaced.
Flame on.
Uh-oh.
We burned the collar.
Oh, it's still on fire.
All right, with our measurements taken, we can start making our new motor mount, which will be a lot easier with the Drivetrain added air. Watch your head.
Okay, stop. Now's the time to consider things like steering linkage clearance, oil pump clearance, firewall clearance. We're gonna take care of all those issues before we finish our mount. Tell me when you're happy.
Right there.
We tack these temporary stanchions that'll hold the motor in place until we double check all of our clearances.
Well, our Hemi's sitting in the middle of the engine bay like it should.
Yeah, it was a lot of extra fabrication, but man, it looks so much better.
Adios.
Later. Hello, Miss Combs.
Hi, guys.
Hey, just before you go home, we're gonna give you back your leathers. Thanks for letting us borrow them.
Oh my God, you
How did you do that?
Oh, smack 'em, yak 'em.
Here, we don't want you to think that we've kept everything.
Don't mess
You
with us, right?
intentionally
See,
did this?
we
You're
get
buying
even,
me new
dog.
leathers, Punk.
We ain't
I'm
doing
coming
nothing.
to get you. You're buying me new leathers.
I'm building a muscle car.
Oh,
That's
don't
all
think
I'm
you're
doing.
getting away with this.
No.
I can't believe that. These are mine.
I know they are. I can't believe it. That's like harsh. That's just mean.
This is MuscleCar, and our 70 Hemi Challenger's making a whopping 610 horse. So we gotta stiffen up our uni-body. But in order to do that, we gotta build some frame connectors and replace a rotted out frame rail.
And we've almost got our year one crate Camaro completely dialed in. Now we're building a show quality car here, so we've really taken the time to concentrate on things like the gaps, the panel to panel alignment, and our laser straight body lines. So I'm gonna jump on the trunk of this thing, get it finished so we can get it in our paint booth today.
This muscle car is 36 years old, and it's got something that all muscle cars have got, rot. So you know what? This floor pan is added air. Plasma cutter is my favorite tool. That 36-year-old rot is gone. You want to cut the floor pan out in small sections. And remember to leave a short lip about 2 or 3 inches on the car edges so you have a place to support the new pan when you're ready to weld it in. Here, I got a present for you. I better get a tetanus shot.
Going with square tubing, I see.
Yes, I am.
That's cool. I mean, there's really no structural advantage over round or anything else. Plus, the underside of the car is all square. I think it'll actually match a little bit better.
I like it because it gives you a nice flat surface to mount your lines to and everything, you know?
Cool, man. I dig it.
Cool.
Why don't you sand for a while?
I can do that.
Subframe connectors help eliminate flexing. If you're adding performance to a unibody car, they're a must.
We'll use 1/8-inch plates on both sides of the floor to anchor the connectors. Our 700-pound crate Hemi puts out 650 pounds of torque. Without frame connectors, it twists this car apart. These babies are gonna stiffen this thing up big time.
You know, we were talking about bracing that wheelhouse with 1.5-inch tube.
Yeah, yeah.
I love seeing this because we could drill like a perfect 1.5-inch hole and then, you know, come through
yeah,
here.
come through there, and,
Yeah,
and no one will
we can
ever see
access it, right. And then,
Yeah.
and then we'll just weld around that hole on the other side. So it'll be like a perfect, boop, the tube will just disappear inside the frame, basically.
Yeah, yeah,
And then when
yeah.
this is removed, we can put that plate on the back like we were talking about.
And then it'll
weld
be
it to
yeah.
it, put the floor back on, and people
no
are
one
like,
will ever see
oh my God, what happened to that tube? It just disappears. It'll be awesome.
What I'm talking about. Now this will challenge the twist in our Challenger. Oh, oh, oh. I'm so funny at times. You can shut off the camera because I'm going to the cold saw right now. She's a good. Now it's time to replace the rotted out frame rail that we've got. Mopars are notorious for this. What happens is you get dirt and moisture in there, it sits and bam, you've got rot. So YearOne supplies this baby because they saw a need for it. So what I did is I made a template, I'll transfer it onto there, trim it up nice and neat, poof, done. You can slip the new rail over the rusted section, but it's always good to clean out that old rot. This is part of the frame and it needs to be fixed right. Let's see what surprises we've got. I'll take what's behind door number 2, Wing. Adding angles gives you more surface area to weld on, which gives you a stronger joint. We'll just plasma out the section we need. Oh yeah! I'm almost done, dude. We'll gusset the new section for extra strength. Ha! Voila! That, my friends, is how you fix an E-body frame rail. Today on MuscleCar, we're gonna put a Dana 60 rear end in our Challenger project, along with a 4-bar airbag setup.
Before we can get our Dana dialed in, we need to make sure our engine and transmission are at the correct angle to the rear end. And to do that, we're gonna make sure that our carb base on our intake manifold is level. A little bit more. Keep going. Keep it coming. Oh, that's perfect.
The most important thing is when you're setting up your engine and transmission to make sure that the carburetor is level so the floats work properly.
The drivetrain alignment for our Challenger started at the engine and it continues back here with the rear axle. Now we pitch the engine down 3 degrees at a negative angle and we're going to bring the nose of our rear end up to a 3-degree positive angle. And this will keep everything aligned during normal driving.
What we did was we made these stanchions, and that way it holds the rear end center and it's locked down. We'll put some tacks on it so the rear end doesn't move at all. So when we put it in our 4-bar, everything is square.
We're going to use this new triangulated 4-bar setup from Air Technologies. Now this is a really sweet kit because it's completely bolt in and it's going to allow us to get rid of those leaf springs because we're going to use these, the shock waves. This is the shock and air spring all together in one. Frees up a lot of room and I can't wait to get this thing stuck on the car.
The thing that's cool about using these stanchions to set up our rear end, we can actually put the wheel anywhere we want inside the wheel well, so we're putting it dead center so it looks really cool. And to do that, we use the plumb bob.
Way. That's how it would go right there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It glues on like that. Clear out here. This is at 31.5. Doing this one. Oh yeah, that one's level. Just level them up, lock them down, and we'll weld them in place.
Remember, you want to tack all your work in place. Then double check everything before laying down your permanent weld. You always want to make sure that you measure your center hole to center hole so you get your distance proper for your airbag. That way, you get the right amount of travel and it looks good. Yeah, because this bend here, it's like at an angle, so it leans this bracket where it needs to be. So that won't work.
Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be fabricators. Since we moved our Dana 60 forward from its stock location, the upper bag mounts will need to be modified. Putting it on. Yeah, does it fit up there real nice? All right, cool. Yeah, so did mine. We modified this thing so heavily that it pretty much took us right past the bolt-on stage.
Not that that's a bad thing, because this bolt-on kit was a really good starting point for us. So we just got to do some modifications. Next mods we got to do, upper bag mounts, and we got it good.
Keep tweaking until it's perfect.
Cutting the welds will let us use heat to change the angle of the top bag mount. Flame on! Oh yeah.
But the other one was up, you were like, yeah, yeah.
How's that? Is that high enough
Gooder,
for you?
much gooder.
Okay.
Good go.
Come on.
No, something's wrong. There. Lou knows you in the nuts. Now. All right, that looks good.
It'll be nice and swoopy. Moving the rear forward means we need to make templates and fab up brackets that tie the top bar to the axle tube.
You want to just keep holding it? When you're building a custom drivetrain and trick suspension, you need to plan on making brackets like these to get everything dialed in.
Ooh, doggy. Tacked in, I'm happy. We wanted to go old school with our Hemi, so we decided to go with these high-flow cast iron exhaust manifolds from YearOne. Underhood temperature will drop because of the cast iron, not to mention ground clearance isn't an issue.
I think I got it. Oh, you just moved it on me.
Got it.
All right, just like everything else in our Challenger, we're gonna have to make our own exhaust system. And your best bet when you do something like that is to just get a universal dual exhaust kit. And then it's gonna come with X bins, U bins, S bins, J bins. I mean, you'll have most of the alphabet to work with.
First, we'll burn out some more of the old floor pan so we can lay out our exhaust tube.
That is one of the coolest wastes of time I have ever seen in my life. That is awesome. Flex that MuscleCar mic. Awesome. That's going home on the trophy case. Yeah. Oh, man. This is what we started with for our collectors, but we want to transition to a 3-inch pipe real quick, right off the manifold. So this is what we're going to end up with after some modifications. Boy, this work's exhausting. You know that's funny.
Here we
go.
Hey, you're my good man. Watch your eyes.
Yeah, I think 45 will work out real good. Like, just doot, put us in this neighborhood, and then we'll kick back.
What we did was we took a piece of 3-inch aluminum tubing and just taped it in place to mock up a drive shaft so we know where it's at when we lay out our exhaust.
We'll go steal it from Extreme.
If you want to get your line straight when you make your cut, make it perpendicular. All you do is take your combination square, lay it down, your bubble level is straight, and mark it.
Well, the next step is to bolt these collectors on and just start adding pipe as we go back. Eventually, we'll reach the rear end.
Uh-oh, it's not good. Get started. Laying out and fabbing the tubes from the headers back takes patience and planning to get it right.
Feeling a hail, boy?
Right there.
Okay, how much clearance do we have?
We got plenty. I mean, we got enough. We're definitely gonna have to put them out there, though.
Yeah.
Watch your eyes.
All right.
There you go. The reason why we're turning all these pipes and everything, not just for ground clearance, is so when we fire this baby up, it's not banging on everything. That's the last thing you want to hear when you fire up your new engine. That's pretty damn good, ain't it?
There we go.
We welded some angle iron in place to hold our flow masters up above the lowest point in the car, and it's also going to give us somewhere to build our pipe back to.
We don't need no stinking instructions.
What do you think?
I like this. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, cool. I like that.
Now that we've got the exhaust pretty much where we want it, we're gonna sit down and decide whether or not we want to run it out in front of the rear wheels or all the way out the back.
And while we're taking a break from that, we already got our suspension on. I think we should throw the wheels and panels on and see what this thing is going to look like. All right, welcome back to MuscleCar. We're dying to see what this thing looks like on its wheels and tires. But before we pop it off the jig, the easiest thing for us to do is put the panels on it to get an accurate look.
For a guy from a modeling agency, you're so strong. I got a top there.
Alrighty then.
All right. I got it started. All right, you ready?
Yeah, tell me when you get real close to tightening.
I'll tell you when I'm putting.
All right, Lou, let her rip.
Bottom
Do the
or
bottom?
top?
Bottom.
4.
Don't tell me I got it on the first try.
Oh!
Booyaka shot. All right, Dan.
Fenders?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Man, I am, like, totally stoked.
I'm just holding it.
We're hung up on something, so we need to come back with it. You know, these hang up on that flange. We put the fenders too close to the door on this car, so that all we have to do is grind back. Ideally, you don't want to add. It's so much easier to just grind a gap and then, you know, weld where the seam splits than it is to add to it. So when you're building a car to this level, it's a lot easier to just go ahead and, you know, take care of that ahead of time. That's why I got one extra so I could lose the others.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow! This is NASCAR pit stop, Lou.
Yeah.
Oh, I am so fired. That thing's heavy. Oh my God, Lou, this thing looks so bad. I mean, it is so deep in the quarter panel. When the air is dumped out of this, it's gonna look sick. But it looks awesome enough at ride height. I can't wait to see it from the back.
Am I in the middle of the tires?
Yeah.
All right, I'm coming down.
Whether you're a pro builder or a weekend spectator, it's all about first impressions, and with cars, it's in the stance.
And our Challenger looks like it's going 100 miles an hour when it's sitting still. It looks like it wants to jump off this frame jig. So you know what? We're out of here. Later.
Adios.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. You know, there was some really top-notch Mopars at the Nationals, but ours is gonna be way over the top.
Since we changed how the suspension works on this car, most of the load is now carried at this point right here. So we're gonna brace up our inner wheelhouses and really make them strong.
I like the 90, what about you?
Yeah, I think that's the way to go for sure. Yeah, that's it right there. So first, we're gonna cut some bracing. 1 5/8, 120 wall DOM. Then, we're gonna introduce him to our new friend.
Arr! This be the tube shark. Tube go in, tube come out bent. All she's gotta do is eat, sleep, bend little tubes.
And the steel's gonna spring back a little bit when you're done bending. So you wanna go just a couple degrees past your angle. 92.
You're the man.
My pirate hat.
Arr!
So we're gonna be welding right next to our new front suspension. And we don't wanna ruin those airbags the way we burned up Jesse's coat a little earlier on this project.
What did you do? How did you do this?
So we'll cover these airbags with some welding paper to catch the sparks. Whenever you're bending tube for a roll cage or whatever, and you want the left and the right to be the same, I always leave the tube a little bit long. This way you can get the bend in the same place, then you can just mark it, cut it, and you have a perfect mirror image. Also make sure it has a good place to land. Like this, whether it's bracing or a roll cage, if it goes to sheet metal, it needs to be on a piece of plate. Keep it strong. All right, brothers, it's tack time.
Once the plate's tacked on, draw some crosshairs so the tube lands in the same place every time. Then get ready for a lot of trimming to make the pipe fit.
On this here, I'm just gonna have to just kind of take the marker and sketch out a rough shape because it's such a compound shape that I'll just have to take my time and use a carbide bit and hog it out until it fits like a puzzle piece. But while I'm cutting the pipes, them some sparks. Lou's welding the plate on the other side. I just start this out by just making some rough cuts, general shapes, and then you can really refine it later with a grinder and get it to fit perfect.
We'll put a plate just like this one on the inside to hold the crossbar. Then we'll drill a hole through them both to make it all line up.
Looks like it'll make it.
Oh yeah, it'll work fine. We'll clean all that seam sealer out of it. We'll be good.
But before we weld the tube on the plate, let's make sure it'll clear the tire.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I left the gap, just, you know, it'll actually make it stronger when you weld it.
So what we did was we ran the suspension all the way up. You know, worst case scenario kind of thing. Make sure we don't hit nothing.
It's also turned all the way, too, to make sure we don't get into these pipes. It looks like we're in a pretty good shape.
Man, if we hit that, we're doing something wrong.
I'd say something's already broken at that point.
Man.
So that's cool, I like it. Let's
Yeah.
bend another one just like this.
You got it where you want it?
I think.
Here we go.
Oh, no, wait!
Too late now, buddy.
No, I was just kidding anyway.
When you're welding something like this, it's gonna take a lot of stress and strain on it, like this brace. It's gonna support the whole front end. You wanna make sure you get good penetration and avoid that cold weld.
Here's a perfect example of what Lou was talking about. It's actually penetrated through the base metal. So you can see the discoloration. I mean, it's just right. It's not too hot, not too cold. And only the very strongest welds can stand up to the YearOne stress test.
Oh, you're so manly!
Damn,
at
checking
you
out
go.
so strong. Well, next we're gonna tie the two braces we just put in with a bar that goes across behind the dash. But first we gotta put the dash and some other things in to make sure we don't have any problems with clearance. Before you can weld any roll cages or under dashes, you need to spend at least 2 years in the circus and be a contortionist. Well, what do you think, Lou?
I think it's really cool, man.
Yeah, this one's nice and strong, too.
Oh, yeah, it's
awesome.
not gonna go nowhere. You think we should try fitting the dash and
Yeah.
see how bad we gotta cut it up?
Yeah.
Even with all this work,
cut too
one
hard.
big part of this project is still missing.
What is the dang deal?
Your side's gotta come up.
Awesome.
But we're gonna take care of that right now. With all the man hours and time and effort that we've put into this project, we finally decided to name our challenger.
Yeah, this thing is so full of badass parts, and it's just over the top. We're gonna call it Overkill.
I like that.
Me too. So live with it.
Last week, we got done all we could do on our Mustang road racing. We're simply out of parts, so we parked it and grabbed today's project. This 70 Challenger we lovingly named Overkill. You Mopar fans thought we parked it forever. Well, dust off your Pentastar, because today's all for you. In 2002, 7 Dodge Challengers were used in the motion picture Too Fast, Too Furious. YearOne supplied some of the parts for the Challengers. When the movie wrapped, we ended up with one of them. They sent it to us last year. It needed a lot of TLC. The bottom line, the car was tired. So we had a lot of work to do. Even Ian and Jesse from Extreme 4x4 came over to help. First thing was to strip the car. The bumpers, the fenders, doors, interior, the works. Everything had to be gone through, and then a parts list was made. Then it was off to blast from the past to get stripped. Seeing it in bare metal was the only way to tell how much work we were in for. Once the Challenger was back in the shop, we got started. First, the small stuff. The rear window channel needed some new metal. Some fabrication took care of that. All of our replacement panels came from Goodmark. The quarters were cut on the body line, and the new ones were welded in place. Next, we tackled the firewall and filled all the holes. The body panels were hung in place to see how they would line up. We bolted in a K-member from Red Top Speed Shop that would hold our 528 Hemi. A Kiesler 5-speed and a Dana 60 from Curry complete the drivetrain. Air ride suspension all the way around. Because of the ride height, the floor was next. It was completely cut out. A section in the rear frame was repaired and frame connectors were added to stop the twist. Since this car is going to sit 5 inches from the ground, we custom built our exhaust and made the floor fit, because nothing can be lower than 5 inches. This Mopar is going to have a lot of power each time it takes off. A little extra body support is needed, so we added braces in the fender wells and between the firewall and dash to tie it all together. We stripped the Challenger down in a body. Then we had the floor, trunk, and not to mention the underneath of the car rhino line to keep it from rusting. This will also insulate the car and cut down on the noise. We sprayed the car with a fresh coat of primer to keep the exposed metal rust-free until we were ready to finish the bodywork and slap a paint job on it. With all the panels back in place, the Challenger was right where we wanted it to be. Low and mean, sitting just 5 inches off the deck. This thing is gonna cause a small earthquake when it's done. Well, there it is. It's finally done. Well, kinda. Although this is really close to what we have in mind. The thing that's gonna get this one to look like this one is bodywork. A lot of bodywork, and that's probably why it sat out there for so long. After that, we're gonna blow it apart for the 3rd time, paint it. So we've got one last chance to get it right, and it starts with the doors. The top is really close to where it needs to be, but the middle of the door needs to be kicked in a bit. It's the door mounts, not the hinge, that lets you push the door in and out. That brought it in quite a bit, but the gap's too wide and way too tight at the rear. This is where the hinge mount comes into play. How's that? That gave us the gap we wanted. And the body lines match up really well. But the gap up front is not even, and not as flush as we want it. Must be a fender issue. I think we'll stop here. Those body lines are dead on. We're not so lucky on the other side. The door fit great, but the mounting holes on the fender need expansion. Don't just make a bigger hole. Know where you need the extra movement. With the doors and the back half of the fenders looking good, this is where you tie it all together. We left the front of the fenders loose till we see how the hood fits. We'll pull it forward first, then make sure the back aligns with the fenders, then finish it off up front. It's really not hard to align your panels. All you need is some simple hand tools and some time. So if you've got a sagging door or a sloppy fender or a hood that won't fit, now you've got no excuse. Now, if your panels are bent, you'll need a slide hammer and a little finesse. To pull out dents, big or small, a stud gun is your next purchase. They come with a small slide hammer, and again, finesse is required. Now, the stud gun is about 15 years old, and it's a lot easier on the metal than the way they used to pull a dent back in the day. They would just drill a hole, put a slide hammer on it, and pull it out. The holes took too long to fill, and they claimed it helped hold on to 10 pounds of mud. Space out your welds so you don't warp your panels. Looks like the original repair wasn't that good after all. They didn't pull it out far enough for us. Never rush a body guy, because if you do, your paint job might look like the ocean. Now, after the break, we're going to pre-fit the rest of the front end to make sure everything's the way we want it. We're back, and we're knee-deep in the bodywork and Overkill. Most of the dents are gone, and the panels are pretty much aligned. But to finish the front off, we gotta put some parts on. The original valance will align the bottom of the fenders. This grill is original too, and you have no choice here. No one's repopping them, so get out your checkbook and have it refurbished. Next is the front bumper. It's in good shape, but we're still gonna send it out to be re-chromed. A real common problem is this gap. You want to make sure it's equal on both sides. Our bumper's adjustable forwards and backwards and side to side. Most are not. That's why you want to pre-fit everything. It's all in the details. Everything lined up better than we expected. A few minor adjustments is all we needed. When the fenders were reskinned, we didn't weld them up all the way. Now that they're tweaked, we'll make them permanent. It's time to weld up some more holes. Who needs an antenna? Our stud gun makes the perfect handle. And if you set them flush enough, they smooth out real nice. So far, we've showed you how to align panels, pull dents, and fill holes big and small. But another thing you can run into? Protrusions. Even though this top is going to be vinyl, it still needs to be smooth. Jumping up and down on it leaves creases and simply shows your lack of schooling. So with a dolly underneath and some banging on top, you can flatten it out. Different hammers do different things. If the flathead doesn't do it, the pick will. Same with the dollies. There are different curvatures for just about any part of the car. A carefully used file can show you the highs and lows in the metal. There's still a lot of hammering, but you get the point. Once we get done with that, we're gonna do the mud work. We're not gonna show you that because it takes days to finish, and well, it's just boring TV. But later on in the show, I got one more tidbit of metal work to show you. How is it possible that the silver screen, or nowadays the plasma, can catapult a star or a car into history? Two things, a stunt double and a good makeup artist. This 70 Challenger proves that very well. It's one of 7 sacrificed in the name of entertainment, and YearOne wants our help to save it. Our goal, an over-the-top trip to the spa. Every inch has been reworked or modified. Then Brent took over to finish the bodywork. Countless hours of detailed repair, 3 coats of sanded and blocked polyester primer, and then 3 more blocked out coats of urethane. His attention to detail and refusal to be rushed finally paid off.
That'd be totally rad. That's the word, rad.
Auto Body Paint Supply mixed the perfect vitamin C orange color for the base, followed by 3 coats of clear. 2 days later, Brent came out of hiding. This project's been going on for more than a year now, and the final assembly is gonna take some serious time. Too much for one show. The wiring and plumbing, it's boring TV, and you've seen it before. So today, we're gonna concentrate on things that will rack your pinion. And our goal is to get that on the ground, get as many parts on it as possible, and it all starts with this. A Hemi, of course. This 528 crate from Mopar Performance puts out 610 horse with 650 foot-pounds of torque. Making it fit wasn't tough. Making it fit better than the factory took some thinking. Mopar offsets their engine a few inches to the passenger side, and here's why. Needle bearings have to constantly spin so they won't burn up. So a straight shot to the rear end simply won't work. GM took care of this by raising or lowering the engine. Ford took care of it by offsetting its pinion. Mopar's engine offset did the same thing. But you know what? We wanted our Hemi to sit dead center in the engine compartment just because it looks good. This K-member from Red Top does just that. It's a custom order that allows for that 5-inch ride height. A little black powder coating will keep it looking good. We can install it to the engine first. We're gambling that it's gonna fit from the bottom up. Not only is this quicker, we didn't want to scratch up that smoothed out engine bay. Hold what you got. We got lucky, barely. There's another reason we centered this engine. There's just not a lot of room to share with this Hemi. Not to mention, it looks really good. That offset drive shaft problem, here's how we fixed that. This Dana 60 we got from Curry. It's what Chrysler put behind the original Hemi cars. Everything about it is oversized, and the added weight helps the balance. We set our pinion lower than the engine to create the right angle needed for the drive shaft to keep those needle bearings spinning. Adjustable airbags for those speed bump encounters. The steering link goes in before the front suspension. This adjustable center link from Laughlin Racing is CNC'd from a solid piece of steel. And this stock steering box was modified for a closer ratio by AGR. The steering shaft is next, but while we still have room, we're gonna install our manifolds. These high-flow cast iron headers are from YearOne, and they've been ceramic coated by NitroPlate. The combination will lower our under-the-hood temperature. That keeps the engine's intake cooler and protects everything around it from cooking. We're reusing the stock steering column, but the shaft needs to be shortened. This one came from Flaming River, and it telescopes for some leeway. That front suspension's gonna have to wait a little bit longer because the final top guy is here. Final assembly on most projects requires some outside help. This is Kevin from Heavy's Customs, and he comes with tools and a reputation. Kevin, do you know anyone that's attempted this or does this themselves?
I know a lot of guys that can build cars, but they just usually leave the vinyl top to me.
Come on, man, it can't be that tough.
It can be tricky, but it's not that hard.
We'll be the judge of that. First step, scuff and clean the top. After finding the center of the roof and the vinyl, a fellow calibrated eye lines it up. With some upholstery adhesive, spray about a foot down the center. Recheck the alignment and stick it on. This is why I couldn't do this at home. I don't have that many neighbors that like me.
Looks good to me, fellas.
Then spray the roof and the back side of the vinyl, one side at a time. And start the tug of war. This is where experience pays off and where a novice could really screw it up. Once it's laid down, it's not moving. Being that this is gonna be a high-profile SEMA car, we decided to sign it. We'll know it's here. Decades from now, when this car's getting upgraded with a flux capacitor, someone will see this and say, who the heck were those guys?
Well, it seemed tight. There you go. There you go.
With a lot more tugging, rubbing, pushing, and cutting, it's time for the glass guy. Something else I'm not gonna do. We got this from JRD International, and Mike's steady hands will avoid any sealer mess. And his patience won't make us order any more glass. Overkill is sporting the classic top half and our time capsule signatures. I don't think our grip understood the concept. We'll blame it on the glue and finally get back on the suspension. Somebody poisoned the watering hole. The upper arms are from Air Ride. These stock spindles have been modified for the larger brakes we're running. Cushioned by more adjustable bags. 13-inch rotors and dual piston calipers will slow it down. BFGs on American Racing torque thrust was the right choice. That vitamin C orange is really starting to pop with a little bit of black and chrome added to it, but we're not done yet, so go grab yourself a juice and we'll be back in a minute. The Mopar fans around here are peeking in the window. That's because Project Overkill is getting ready to live up to its name. Now, you won't see it go down the road today, but you will see it with its prom clothes on. Brent's back in seclusion, finishing the hood. Some say Chrysler put flat black on to stop the sun's reflection. I think it's just plain cool. They make a sticker kit for this and the bumblebee stripe on the back, but that's not Brent's style. Painting flat black isn't easy. The coats have to be extremely consistent, otherwise some areas will start to gloss up on you, so a wider fan can help. The tape comes off right away, so the paint can hopefully roll down for a nice smooth edge. Tommy and I are moving ahead with the doors. You need to find a neighbor who likes you for this one too.
You ready? Go.
But one with some common sense. No belt buckles the size of a dinner plate or those spiky things that kids attach to themselves either. The doors don't need to be aligned perfectly just yet.
That's it. Gaps even all the way. That's good.
The fenders are next, and we're gonna put tape on anything that can get bumped together, because we don't want Brent getting all wacky on us. These holes were drilled the last time we aligned these up. The same size drill bit gets it back in place. Since we know the fenders are spot on, we can get the door spacing where it needs to be. Aligning the doors can take some time, but these gaps can make or break the appearance of the car. I learned some sealer skills from the glass guy, handy for the trunk weather stripping I put on earlier. Some tape to keep it there till it dries, rattle can paint for the mounts, and the same drill bit for more alignment holes. I will install no part before it's time, and Brent decides that. In other words, the hood's done. That flat black, along with the design of the hood, is where the attitude starts to come to life. The valances are the last painted parts Brent lived with for the last 6 weeks. He also shaved the rear bumperettes. All those times we test fitted this car paid off. We've come a long way in a short amount of time. And we're not done yet. The trim work is as important as the rest of the car. And after the break, a few problems, better yet, some solutions. On every project I've ever done, one of the most hair-shaving issues is finding nice trim work. Let's face it, nobody makes every piece. And I've had to install some borderline parts before, but not anymore. We're fortunate enough to be right down the road from nationally known Advanced Plating in Nashville, Tennessee. We sent our camera crew out to show you what goes into a chrome job that's done right. This 60,000 square foot facility is where all the magic happens. The work order for the Challenger was a bit steeper than just slapping on some new chrome. A lot of this stuff just isn't made anymore, and we're having a hard time finding usable trim. Good thing for us, Advanced Plating is more than just a chrome shop. They do full restoration of trim and other hard-to-find parts. A lot of shops won't even touch this stuff. But at Advanced Plating, the restoration is rapidly a growing part of their business. When a piece comes into Advanced, it's cataloged and engraved. That way you know you're getting your piece back. After being labeled, the parts are taken to a strip room and all the dirt and grime is removed. Every part is soaked in a heated caustic acid bath. After just a few seconds, the chemistry takes over and a clean water rinse is needed to stop the chemicals from eating through your hard-to-find trim parts. A nitric acid bath removes any residue from the caustic. Then it's back into a clean water rinse one more time. After the pieces are stripped and cleaned, all the places that need to be filled and hammered out can be seen. That's when Jeff Brown takes over and begins the tedious process of bringing the trim back to its original shape. As you can see, this is no in-and-out job. After the big dents are taken care of, Jeff polishes out the piece so he can see the minor flaws. And then he starts fine-tuning. This could take a while. Other pieces like our Le Mans taillight bezels are joining the endangered parts list as well. Ours needs plenty of attention. After the old copper is taken off, a copper cyanide bath provides a solid starting point for the repair work. Joe Zajac lines up the pieces of our busted bezel, and with the help of some copper wire and a steady hand, Silva solders it all back together. Any holes are filled with solder and then sanded smooth. Once back in its original shape, the piece heads back out to start the plating process. You can't have good chrome without a good base, and that's where another copper cyanide bath comes into play. It not only protects our parts from corrosion, but supplies a conductive surface that's a must for quality chrome. Once the cyanide copper is applied, it's plated with acid copper to fill any minor holes or imperfections. Then it's back to the buffing room to smooth out this copper base, ensuring a clean finish. With 5 coats of copper and equal amounts of trips to the repair and buff shop, it's time to make this piece shine. First stop, the nickel bath. Nickel will bond with copper, and the amount of nickel deposit that builds up on the piece determines the depth of the shine. It takes about an hour to make sure the nickel plate is thick enough. Our Le Mans bezel is dipped into the chrome tank, where it's left for almost 2 minutes. Once it develops a haze, the max amount of chrome has been deposited. After 3 separate rinses, it's back to the shine shop, leaving nothing but a perfect shine. It's a lot of work, but it's the only way to go if you really care about quality chrome. And we'll show you how their artistry pays off on the Challenger after the break. Welcome back. We're running out of time, but not things to do. We showed you how advanced plating saves those hard-to-find pieces of trim. If that didn't impress you, check this out. Here's the grill we got stuck with on the Challenger. It was 2 rivets away from the trash, and you can't buy a new one. Look at what those hammer-slinging elves did for us. They straightened out all the aluminum, they replaced any missing pieces in the grate, and as usual, the polishing is flawless. The aluminum trim came out just as nice, and the clear coat they spray on them will keep it that way. This piece was a mangled mess. No way I could have taken the time to straighten it out. The stainless steel parts are polished only. They need no clear coat. It should go without saying, don't get too enthusiastic here. All these edges have been smoothed out, but they're still sharp enough to cut into the paint. It usually hurts to hide the engine. Not this time. There's more shine on this grill than the factory gave it. And because it's the one that came off, there's no surprises putting it back on. The bumpers are originals too, straightened out and sporting some new chrome. The rest of the pieces YearOne came through with. Good thing these taillight parts would be hard to find. Same with the marker lights and the mirror. You don't want shiny wiper arms. The sun's glare could blind you. The originals were oxidated and just plain trashed. Tommy's got this trick to show us. With the PSI down to 20 on the glass blaster, a gentle spray will clean them up, and it gives it that nice flat finish the stock ones had. You should still wear your shades though, because you'll just look plain cool. The fat lady may not be singing, but she sure is a humming. Now, we didn't keep track of the thousands of man hours that we logged behind the scenes on this project, not to mention the hundreds still to come. Was it worth it? Time will tell. It's a classic. It's done right. Not to mention, it's a movie car. If taken care of, who knows what price it could bring in 30 years. We'll have it back soon to do the interior and clock a few miles on it. Till then, later.
Now, YearOne has been great about supplying any parts we need to get Project Overkill back on the road. And Keith Manny is here to talk to us about everything that's been done since the last time you guys saw it. How you doing, Keith?
Very well, thanks.
Cool. Welcome to the shop, man.
Appreciate it. Good to see you, Brent.
You too, man.
Since the last time everybody really saw the car, we've gotten quite a bit done. We've gotten all the plumbing done for the fuel system and the brake system. We've gotten the air ride installed, and we've got about 90% of the wiring done.
Cool. Very cool. What do you say we get her on the lift and check out the plumbing?
All right.
All right. We can do that.
Well, we already got our lines run. We'll just start back here. Why don't you tell us a little something about the sending unit there?
One of the cool things that we offer at YearOne, you know, for these cars is a sending unit that already has a modified pickup, a 1/2-inch pickup. You know, this thing's got a big thirsty Hemi in it, and the Hemi's got to have a lot of gas. So if you're after gas mileage, don't buy a Hemi, okay? So we've got to feed this thing, and that necessitated running a 1/2-inch line everywhere. Now, the difficult part of that is if you're using a stock type tank and have a stock type pickup, how do you get that 1/2-inch line to mate up with the stock piece? So we actually reproduced one with a 1/2-inch pickup. Takes care of that problem for you.
Very cool.
Now, obviously, this car's been modified on the bottom so much that we had to bend our own lines. You know, you guys are involved in all of that. So we've used tube nuts, 1/2-inch stainless steel line running all the way to the front. The other line that you see here is actually a return, because one of the cool things that we'll do is, like the original Hemi cars, we'll use a vapor separator up front, and that will feed it with a 1/2-inch line. There's a 1/4-inch return line that comes back that circulates the fuel, it keeps the fuel cooler. It actually helps with emissions too. Okay, once we get up here to the wheel well, it turns 90, runs up along the frame rail, and then turns 90 again into the engine compartment, where it'll really go from the hard line to braided stainless line to run to the vapor separator and then the fuel pump.
Well, that takes care of the fuel line. What about the brake lines?
Well, Rick, it's pretty much the same story on the brake lines. You know, the car's been modified so much we couldn't use the pre-bent off-the-shelf lines, so we pretty much made them all. You know, started with a kit that's a big roll of steel tubing and got busy. One of the cool things that we did, when you're done, we take a pre-bent line or get some of this armor, you know, and slide on it, so it not only looks a little more original, but it does provide some protection to the brake line itself.
Springy stuff over the top, right?
Right, that's it. Stainless steel lines, you know, that actually go out to the calipers on all 4 corners. That's not only safer, but provides a much better, more firm brake pedal feel. Yeah.
Well, that just about covers all the plumbing, but we also still have the wiring and the air ride system to go over. But for this week, we're about out of time. So make sure to check us out next week to get the lowdown on all that stuff. Hey, Keith, I want to say thanks for coming in and give us a hand, man. I appreciate it.
No problem. I like hanging out with you guys.
Sweet. Come back next week?
Sure.
Right on. But for now, we're out of here. Hey, we're back with our 70 Challenger Project Overkill. Now, last week we showed you all the plumbing on the brakes and the fuel system. Well, this week, Keith Manny is back from YearOne to give us the lowdown on the air ride install and give us some advice on wiring harnesses. How you doing, man? Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. We've got a couple of reproduction wiring harnesses here that we used in Project Overkill. And one of the cool things about a reproduction wiring harness is the fact that not only is all the wiring new, but all the colors are correct, the connectors are correct. That means you can use a factory wiring diagram. You know where to put all this stuff.
Awesome. So it makes it plug and play, basically.
Makes it plug and play. And so what we've used on Project Overkill, reproduction harnesses everywhere we could, which is virtually the entire car, and then custom touches like the air ride setup, the stereo, that's on top of the factory stuff.
Gotcha. Very cool. And this has extra circuits in it that you can plug other things into, right?
An exact duplicate of the original. So the extra circuits that you had in the original car, you'll have in these.
Awesome. Let's take a look at it.
Okay.
Well, under the hood here, I see we have a nice mix of OEM and aftermarket.
Yeah, it's really kind of a microcosm of the whole car, really, if you think about it. You'll see back here, we've got an electronic ignition conversion. We're using Mopar Performance's electronic ignition system on this thing. And one of the really cool things about our repro harnesses, they come already set up for that electronic ignition system.
So that's not piggyback, that's actually wired into the system.
It's wired in, right. It's part of the engine harness now. Over here on this side, you'll see some of the custom stuff. These are main feed wires for the stereo and for the air ride system. So it's pretty neat, you know, we've got a good mix of OEM resto look and some custom high rod stuff.
Very cool, very cool. Let's check out the inside.
If you look inside the car here, man, you can see that we've got the dash harness in place. We've got the stereo wiring in place, although we don't have the stereo quite yet. We've got the controller for the air ride in place. You look down on the floor and you see the main power feed, the controller wiring for the air ride system, and the air lines for the air ride system.
Speaking of air ride, Skinny Guys here, our air ride expert.
Yeah.
Want to show us how this thing works?
Coolest thing about this system, man, is you can program 3 different ride heights or control each wheel individually.
Very cool. Let's see it in action.
All right.
Looks like we got the air ride working good.
Oh, yeah.
I like the in-the-weeds stance, man. They look great like this.
Yeah, sweet. Well, hey, we're out of time for today, but don't worry, because you're going to see a lot more Project Overkill coming up later on in the season. Because we still have to finish the interior, the stereo, the exhaust. We still got a lot more work to do. And then we get to take this thing out, listen to that big old Hemi wail. Well, hey, thanks a lot for coming down, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All
Been
right,
a blast.
man. Cool. For now, we're out of here.
Overkill is done. If you've watched MuscleCar from day one, you've seen most of the build, but there's a few things we never got a chance to show you.
Like this pulley set. Now, if you try to find an original set for this car, yeah, right, good luck. It's all right, because Billet Specialties has you covered. They have a complete set with a power steering pump and reservoir, along with an AC compressor.
The interior has been finished out with stock-style leather seats, plus panels, carpet, and trim from YearOne. The original gauges were reconditioned and calibrated by Auto Instruments. And as if you're not gonna look cool enough riding in this baby, we added AC from Vintage Air.
Now, one of the best upgrades we did on this car was install a hydraulic brake assist, otherwise known as Hydro Boost. Now, Hydrotech braking system sent us this setup, and the reason I like it so much, it uses its own pump. It doesn't rely on engine vacuum, so you can use it on high-performance engines or diesels or anything else that doesn't create a vacuum to operate all your accessories.
We also changed a couple exterior details, like adding an RT-style bumblebee stripe in the rear and blacking out the center of our polished grille. The final result is one sweet-looking ride. I know what y'all are thinking. It looks good, but will it jerk a knot in your neck?
Well, believe me, we're going to find out, because we will have this thing on the road before the end of the show. And since we want to spend our time driving it, not pushing it, I put together a pre-flight checklist, so it's time to get it up on the rack and double-check all of our work.
Coming up, need an extra hand or foot? Rick's gonna show you how to make one.
Now, restoring a muscle car can be a long, involved process, and when it's finally done, it can be really tempting to jump in it and go. But cars are complex, and odds are something got overlooked. So for safety's sake, and to help prevent you from kicking the side into a car that you just spent half your life restoring, take a few minutes and check things over.
You want to check out the suspension really well, making sure everything's tight, cotter pins are in place, and there's no binding in the steering, because you don't want to die, do you?
Check your tire pressure and your lug nuts too. Even if you had a tire shop do that for you, double check it, because it's your butt in that driver's seat and it's up to you to cover it. Also, make sure you double check for oil leaks, transmission leaks, gas leaks, and above all, brake line leaks. Check every fitting from the front to the back before you even think about pulling this thing out on the road.
There's a few things to check out under the hood too. Look at the routing of your wires to make sure there's nothing too close to the exhaust to get hot, short, cause a fire, especially whenever something as simple as a zip tie or clip could fix. Also check out your battery connections, because your chances are you've had these off a time or two.
All right, so you got all your systems checked out. You have no fluid leaks, your suspension is all tight, your wheels and tires aren't going to fall off, but there's still one more system that needs to be checked before you can hit the road, and that's your lights. Now, your running lights and headlights are pretty easy to check. You can turn them on and walk around the car and make sure they're all working. Brake lights, well, that's another story, and if you're anything like me, it's probably going to be 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday. All your buddies have gone home and you're there by yourself and you really want to take this thing out for a drive. So I got a little trick for you, how to check your brake lights by yourself.
Build on a budget. MuscleCar projects that save you time and money.
This brake pedal lock will hook to the steering wheel, so the first step is to measure from the pedal to the wheel. I'm using a piece of 3/8 mild steel tube to form the main shaft, just because I had it laying around. Any small diameter tube or rod will work just fine. A few pieces of 1/8-inch plate will form the rest. I'm not using any specific measurements. This piece rests against the wheel, so it needs to be wider than the grip. The hole needs to be slightly larger than the diameter of the tube or rod you're using. These smaller pieces will form the lock and release mechanism. One more relief cut, and I'm ready to weld it all together. A bolt acts as the pivot for the lock, and an old Allen wrench will be used as the key. Perfect. See if it works. Now, it's real simple to use. Just depress the brake pedal and lock it in against the steering wheel. Now, this also comes in real handy if you're loading up a car on a trailer and you don't have an emergency brake. To release it, just pull the pin and you're free. Now, it also comes in handy if you're adjusting a window. You can use this to hold the glass up while you adjust the regulator. Also, if you're adjusting a door, you can use that to hold the door in place while you adjust the hinges. Now, we've gone over every major system on this car from front to back, top to bottom, and she's got a clean bill of health. So stick around, because coming up later in the show, we're going to take this old Dodge out and see what she can do. Project Overkill is finally ready to hit the road. This bad rod belongs to Kevin King, owner of YearOne, and he's going to be here soon to pick it up, but we couldn't resist taking it out for a test drive first. It is kind of cool that the last time this car was on the road, it was mid-air and got crashed into a bunch of crap on a movie set.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to be that guy riding in it, though, because this thing was monkeyed up. Oh, nose bent all to heck, frame tweaked, sheet metal wadded up.
Yeah, they did.
We didn't find any blood or nothing in it, so that's pretty good. You know, it's nothing quite like a good ride on a pretty day in an old school muscle car, man. Yeah.
All right, man, the bridge is out up here. Let's do it.
All right, brother. Man, I really like this pistol grip. It's a lot of, just feels awesome. Man, you can't beat it. We're cruising about 55 at about 1600 AC on. she's definitely built to ride. Man, this thing sounds awesome. That big Hemi breathing.
It really does. It's got a pretty good cruise speed to it.
Oh yeah, man, this thing rides nice. You know, one thing for sure, we couldn't have done this build without YearOne, man. It's so hard to find original parts for these things. Finally, somebody's starting to pop them things back out. Oh no, he's here, man. I guess he's early.
Man, you guys been out hot rodding the Challenger?
No, that's a lie, man. I swear. Just teching it out.
That's all good, man. It's meant to be driven anyway.
Good deal.
How you doing?
What's up, buddy?
Good. It's looking good.
Heck yeah, it drives pretty good too.
Right on.
Hey, Rick, why don't you take him for a ride? I got some stuff to do in here.
Yeah, we can do that. Hop in, man.
Let's go. Everybody always wants to know what my favorite car is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. How do you pick a favorite? It's like picking a favorite kid.
I'm kind of curious, what does the future hold for Overkill here? What are you going to do with this thing?
Same thing I do with all the other ones. I'll drive the shit out of it.
Well, hey, man, I've got plenty of seat time in this thing. Want to give it a shot?
Absolutely. I'd love to see that perspective. Oh, man.
There you go, man.
Appreciate.
Sweet.
Thanks.
That is a good looking car, you know it?
It certainly is. It looks a lot better than it did when we brought it.
Yeah, it does. I'll tell you what, it was one of those things, I mean, it took all of your guys' help and all our help, and it was a team effort, man.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, I love riding in them. But it sure is a lot more fun to drive.
Heck yeah. Let's go grab some gears, dude.
Oh, it's pretty smooth, actually.
It is, huh? Drives nice. I like the action on the shifter.
Yep. It's short.
Precise, yeah.
It's a lot shorter than I thought it would be.
Clicker's got some torque to it, huh?
No kidding, it just lumbers right along.
Yeah, 1,500 RPM, and you just feel it pull.
Yeah, this will make a good cruiser.
It actually rides a lot cushier than I thought it was going to.
Well, you know, you get that air ride suspension dialed in right.
Yeah.
It's about as good as it gets
Rides
cruising
like
down the road.
Cadillac.
Yep. Well, that was cool.
That was very cool, man. That's a nice driving car.
Sure is.
Hey,
Thanks.
thanks for letting us partner up with YearOne, man. I really appreciate it. Awesome project. I look forward to the next one if you'll have us.
Me too.
Right
Let's get on it.
Well, hey, I got to get back to work, man.
All right.
So I'm out of here.
Thanks, Rick.
Later, man.